You guys can start.
Mayur said wait. In 10 seconds.
Hello and welcome to this next episode in the series of The Future We Want. I'm Leslie and here's Mayuri. We have the privilege of hosting this session of The Future We Want with an amazing, inspiring artist. When an artist performs with a certain presence, it transcends language, culture, genre, and reaches out to you. It was this quality in Bindhu's music that connected with me and engaged me in an appreciation of the depth, timelessness, and timeliness of the revolutionary poet saints of India, both as a listener and also as a musician. I'm really glad to have the privilege of introducing her to you today. Bindhu is a singer and composer trained in both Carnatic and Hindustani classical forms, but also expresses music outside these roots. She's composed and sung for feature films, documentary films, theatre productions, and independent albums in Hindi, Kannada, and Tamil. She won the National Award and Filmfare Award as Best Female Playback Singer for songs she composed and sang for Nathi Charami, a Kannada film. Sorry for the pronunciation if that was wrong. So with this tip of the iceberg introduction, we present to you Bindhu, Malini Narayan Swami.
Thank you, Mayuri and Leslie, and good evening to all of you out there. So it is also my privilege to meet Mayuri and Leslie once again like this. And actually, now that Leslie gave such an introduction, I have to say that it was probably my second or my first Kabir festival. So that is 10 years ago. And after one of the events, uh, many of the artists and the people who were behind organizing it were invited to a home where we all ate lunch. So I found this to be very different, at the same time very exciting and beautiful, very warm, that all of us walked towards a home and then we all sat down and we were served food with a lot of love, and it was really like when going to a marriage, a kalyanam, and sitting down and eating. And that was Leslie and Mayuri's house. And wherever there is food, I think I just immediately feel at home. So I didn't know them before that, but I went to them and told them that this feels like home and I would like to invite myself back again and again to this house. And I have managed to do that again and again in the last 10 years. And their home is my home too. And if it did not happen through a song, I don't know how it would have happened. I think a song opened me up, my heart out to them, and I could take the courage and not feel shy that I could just go up to somebody and ask or tell something like this. And that's the beauty of what these songs that I sing have done to me. Um, they have managed to open my heart out um, in a very, I mean, to say that however I feel and whoever I am, whoever is out there is the same. So it's okay. And I can talk to that person. So these songs, I have been a musician, a singer right from childhood, but I didn't think I will take it up as a profession or the way that I live with my songs nowadays. And it's thanks to certain songs that came into my life when I probably needed them the most that this happened. So it shifted things within me. So a song like this, I would like to just do a bit of singing so that it sets the mood. साई की नगरी साई की नगरी परमाति सुंदर अति सुंदर जहाँ कोई जाया न आवे है जहाँ कोई जाया न आवे चांद सूरज जहाँ पवन ना पानी पवन ना पानी को संदेश पहुँचावे दर्द यह साई को सुनावे नहरवा 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 This song is extremely special to me, and not just to me, many of the people who have heard this song and sing this song, because this one song started shifting something in me and for me. My life started shifting very clearly with this song, singing this song. And every time I sing this song, even before I actually went into word by word understanding of the song, just to be able to sing a song like this and what it evoked in me started shifting something for me. And I could see that in the sharing of this song, that shift was also simultaneously felt by those listening. And like I said, I didn't even understand what this song was talking about. And why I chose to sing these two lines is that when I realized what he is talking about, Kabir, this is a song by Kabir and it's being set to tune by the great Pandit Kumar Gandhar. He's talking about a place which you can't access. He's talking about a space where you can't go or come, not send anybody and come back. But that is the space which is beautiful. So I was, what is he talking about and why is it really churning me so much? Probably there is this kind of an inaccessible space within me. And is that the pain I'm feeling? It really, it started giving me a way to have a new kind of dialogue with myself. And I have never felt that before in talking to anybody else or being caught with my own set of thoughts. So these songs somewhere come midway where it gives a relief. And hence, these are songs which actually carry wisdom, and this wisdom is well packaged. And what is beautiful, I realize, is that it's not just songs of Kabir. There are songs like this across this subcontinent, and they are still reverberating and resonating from centuries behind us. And the beauty is that we are in the future for those centuries. So these songs are speaking to us because those poets imagined this future that they wanted. And by singing these songs, it's a carry forward of that same spirit. And so they are like these fountains of wisdom that are erupting through time and space in the subcontinent. And what I love about this is that it feels like these songs had their way of escaping through these cracks of time, in time. And they could not be held by any kind of airtight containers of time. So I'm able to access songs which are 500 years old, 600, 800, and beyond. And still, it feels like it's something new which has entered my life. So for me, that's where it really starts shifting. And in the experience of singing the song or in the listening or being in it, Leslie and Mayuri also know how we all just jump up and dance and um, really get into the song and what the song is trying to say, irrespective of being the listener or the singer. And that's where I think there's a collective change that starts happening. And we need not talk about it. We can just be in that change or be in that movement and the shifting. And that's what festivals like the Kabir Mumbai Festival, Malwa Yatra, and the Rajasthan Kabir Yatras have helped me experience. And today, when I was just making my notes for this session, I was just making these diagrams. Uh, so let's say the wisdom is in the center, then the songs that speak of this wisdom or that are passing this wisdom, and then the people around who come to make this happen and facilitate this. And this facilitation is happening for a larger community. So the wisdom and the songs become the center of these festivals. Imagine festivals and yatra, journeys, everything because a song is saying something. And that we want to be able to not just listen, but be able to sing it, be able to dance to it, be able to experience it and journey with it. And that's the magic that these songs have managed to time and again do this. And I have had the privilege to live through it and change with it and travel with it in all these years since the time I think I kind of started being part of these yatras. So that's the power of these songs. And like I was sharing with Mayuri and Leslie, for me, it feels like these songs are those colleges, universities, schools of wisdom. And you don't need any structure, any classrooms, any big funding. It's just there in that song, and it can keep giving that wisdom for you forever. Um, so I would like to probably sing certain songs which talk about how they impact an individual or the heart, and also how they kind of bring out certain questions very gently for us to reflect on uh, towards what's happening with us, each of us, or what's happening in the society, because we all make it the space that we live in. So in that way, for example, there is a Vachana by Gogava. And so if it is Gogava and it's a Vachana, it could very well be anywhere between the 9th and 12th century. And in two lines, she's saying, Mole mudi bandade ಹೆಣ್ಣೆಂಬರು ಓಲೆ ಮುಡಿ ಬಂದಡೆ ಹೆಣ್ಣೆಂಬರು ಮೀಸೆ ಬಂದಡೆ ಗಂಡೆಂಬರು ಈ ಉಭಯದ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಗಂಡೋ ಈ ಉಭಯದ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಗಂಡೋ. So in this Gogava is actually interestingly saying that if there is breast and long hair, it's a woman, and if there's a mustache, it's a man. But the mind which creates this man and woman, the mind which creates this differentiation, is that male or female? That's her question in this. And it really was powerful for me. Similarly, another Vachana, I mean, I'm just taking these songs, but there are many such talking about similar things. Bonta Devi, another poet who actually first lived in Kashmir and then she came to Karnataka, and this is in Kannada. She's saying, ಭಿತ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ಒಳಗೊರಗೆಂಬ ನಾಮವೈಸೆ, ಭಿತ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ಒಳ ಹೊರಗೆಂಬ ನಾಮವೈಸೆ, ಊರ ಒಳಗಣ ಬಯಲು, ಊರ ಒಳಗಣ ಊರ ಹೊರಗಣ ಬಯಲೆಂದುಂಟೆ, ಊರ ಒಳಗಣ ಬಯಲು, ಊರ ಹೊರಗಣ ಬಯಲೆಂದುಂಟೆ. This song talks about spaces. So she's saying this is the body which creates a space or this wall which says inside and outside. Otherwise, it's space everywhere. So how can there be one particular kind of space which is inside the city and a particular kind of space which is meant for other kind of people outside the city? Isn't space the same all over? And I found her courage and power reverberating through this song. I know this. After this, we'll open out for a dialogue, and I would love to talk to Leslie and Mayuri. But before that, I would like to talk about one incident which really I will never forget it. In Rajasthan Kabir Yatra, one of the yatras, we went to remote places, especially places where it was very sensitive in terms of how the environment was, and it was fragile, and any time violence can break out. So we particularly went to those places to sing and bring people together to join in this festivity of just coming together and sharing songs. And Gopal, one of the chief organizers of the Rajasthan Kabir Yatra, this particular yatra at that time was also in collaboration with the police force in Rajasthan. So in a very last minute kind of a decision and with a lot of trouble, they managed to quickly arrange for one particular concert in the old part of Bikaner. And it was in the middle of the road, and there is a mosque on this side, but it's a place where both Hindu and Muslim communities live. And just 6 months before this festival, violence had broken out there. And there was stone pelting and everything. And the police force who had gone there, they were also attacked with stones. And so with a lot of doubts, they, brought us on stage and we performed. We performed Amir Khusro's songs. And 4 different people from different parts of the country coming together and singing Amir Khusro songs. But the way people started dancing and enjoying and forgetting any kind of difference was just beautiful. And at the end of it, the officer, he said that 6 months ago, you threw stones at us. And here we are throwing songs back at you. And just to hear that broke me, just broke me. So that's what I think songs can do to the soul and therefore to the society. There's more, but let's have a conversation.
Thank you, Bindhu, for opening your heart and sharing all that the songs have offered to you and through that to us. Before the other questions come in, I would like to ask you that in this time, there has been so much happening around us. There's so much change and shift. And in this time, what do you see that this journey with songs is offering to you to keep you going?
Now, I feel that this time of indefiniteness is actually opening out something else for me, because nothing that I do now is um, result oriented in terms of time. There's a sense of a timelessness, and suddenly these songs are becoming more gentle, yet stronger and powerful. And imagine that right now we cannot do much of action, but the heart can still sing. So I think that's beautiful, that these songs are always available no matter what.
Thank you, Bindhu. I'm going to share some questions that are coming in. There's a question from Nikki Chandam. And the question is, how and when did Kabir attract you and why?
Okay, so Kabir was force fed in a very moralistic way in school, and being a Tamilian, it was just a drill of Hindi, and I really didn't enjoy it. But the real entry happened when my sister wrote a book, a lovely book called Kabir, the Weaver Poet, and it's by Jaya Madhavan, and the publisher is Tulika. That suddenly Kabir was no longer this person who probably held a stick in his hand and saying, Kal kare so aaj kar, but a lovely mad friend who could just love you for whoever you are, however imperfect you are. And he's just saying, as long as you're able to just love, it's okay. And thanks to her book, that this aspect of Kabir came out. And then through the songs after that.
I have the next question here. This is from Anjali Gandhi. She asked, from your experience, has music or does music have the power to create permanent change?
Yes, and the thing is, we will not even realize it. That's how permanent it will be. We would have shifted before we even know. And I think that kind of a change is what has happened so effortlessly before we even knew what has happened. And I think these songs have managed to do that to me, and hence it's tried and tested and proven. You should ask my siblings. They will tell you stories of what a brat I was and how difficult I was, and I still am. And yes, we have Mayuri and Leslie know and have lived the changes that songs have brought about.
We can vouch for that. The next question is here. It says, what role do artists have in today's world, according to you?
The role that they have always had, that they really hold our emotions together, our feelings together, and we cannot operate only on logic and numbers all the time. We are not meant to be that way. So where will our emotions find place and expression? And how we end up responding to life's challenges is what makes us all common. And art has this very non-aggressive way of finding relief and release for all that. And therefore, they will always be relevant.
Thank you, Bindhu. And thank you, Shreya, for that question. The next question we have is from Archana Rao. She asks, thank you, Bindhu, for your soul-stirring singing and song. You use your voice and music often to bring change in the world. Who are the current musicians you are inspired by?
Lot of them, a lot of the artists who are part of Kabir Festival and this whole Kabir family that's going on, we all have become one kind of one lovely ball of, I don't know what it is. For me, when I listen to Lakshman Das Baul, his voice, irrespective of where I am, how I am, they just break me open and I just shamelessly cry. And I like the kind of work that an artist from Karnataka called Shilpa Mudbi, she's doing something called the Urban Folk Project. I really love what she's doing. And there are many more artists. I'm just quickly telling about the artists who are right there for me right now. Shruti Vishwanath is really, she's a force to reckon with. She is really doing great work. There's Vasu. Vasu has this knack of winning people's heart and telling things that are always relevant. Vasu Dikshit. And sorry, this question is a challenge because once the session gets over, I'll be like, oh, I didn't talk about them. Oh, I didn't tell about this one, that one. So I will probably type it into onto that same session on Facebook.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Thank you for taking that on. We have a song request from Sachin Gurung. He says, can you sing 2 lines from Bhajan Kaho To Bhai, Suno Bhai Sadhu? Yeah, even I'm like, maybe Sachin, if you can type in a few more words from the song in the chat and we could understand which bhajan are you talking about. We'll go on to the next one and then come back to this one probably. Anjali asks, does this kind of appearance versus the kind of music you sing ever create a conflict in the mind of the listeners, especially women?
I think they do. And it's nice to have that conflict because you have to resolve it one way or the other. And somewhere let go of that also. Because it's not been easy even for me to question myself. Am I trying to make a statement here, or is it convenience, or can it just be? Can all this coexist? You know, only if I wear a sari and a bindi and have long hair, I'm eligible to sing a Hindustani or a Carnatic song. You know, even for me, because maybe even I reacted like this when I saw somebody. That, oh, this person has a piercing here, and then, oh my God, are they really going to sing like this? You know, because these classifications, even I have been stuck in those in my mind and in the minds of people around me of how I thought they are seeing me or how I should be seen.
That's very deep and so much to reflect about. We have a message from Aching who says, wow, I love the experience you shared at the end. That was very moving. And Sachin says it's a Kabir bhajan, but we'll wait for a few more words unless you can remember which one it could be.
All end with the same thing.
Yeah, so I can sing anything because this Kahat Kabir Suno Bhai Sadho. Okay, let's see if this should fit in one way or the other. But am I supposed to sing only those two lines or any two lines from that song?
Any two lines from the bhajan, any two lines.
Okay. Yogi, yogi, yogana, yogana, ham yogi, yogi. अवधूता युगान युगान हम योगी 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 युगान युगान हम योगी योगी आवे ना जाए आवे ना जाए मिटे ना कबहू कबहू सबद अनाहद भोगी अवधूता युगान युगान हम योगी युगान युगान हम योगी.
Thank you, Bindhu. That always stirs the soul and brings it so much calm. We have a question from Mayur now. He asks, if we are to bridge the divides in this world, what would be the role of art and especially music?
Somehow I'm always caught up between the dualities within me and the divides which start here. So one thing this song or art, let's say, has helped me is to create that place where I don't have to blame the other nor me. You know, I I will I can look at art and probably try and make meaning of my own struggles. That's what each artist somewhere, it's not just art, the artist also meets the art somewhere, and that's when it's complete. So the divides that we see outside is just a magnification of all the divides that each of us constantly are battling with. And art does help in creating those safe places where I think if we can shed the divide, it's fine, or we can attempt to get over that gap and bridge it. Or if there are differences, we can try and at least find a way of making those differences beautiful and appreciate it.
Thank you. And then talking about bridging divides, now Vangyal asks that the folk culture always preached wisdom through song, but I see it's fading away and we are losing that wisdom. How do you see this? You know, this gap from the tradition of this folk songs coming through, and it's fading away now.
One is, we know these folk songs before books and papers and pen, I mean, even while books and papers and pens are still around, the songs are supported because of the oral tradition. And then, see, even if I write down a song somewhere, it's almost like storing in another memory hard disk. But if I sing that song to myself, it dissolves into me. I feel wisdom is that we can start living that experience. So I'm not too sure whether they're really fading away. Looks like they keep finding their way back. And if they're fading, it's not just because of the songs. It's about how many other shifts are going on. How are rural spaces defined? How are urban spaces getting defined? And what is it that we are gaining and losing when we migrate like this? So, is it only the songs, or are we talking about something where it's a kind of a way of life? And then what are we missing out on? What are we trying to, what have we dropped then? That's how I'm looking at this.
And it's a related comment, so I'm going to connect that. And then there are two more questions we want to take. So Nitesh says that, well, I missed it somewhere, but he says that, the wisdom that has been passed down through this folk tradition is still relevant in today's times. And it'll also has said something that will help us to go into the future and keep in our minds and souls. What is our role in keeping this alive, and how do we do it?
I think you know the answer. You just have to sing. Anyone and everyone should just sing.
So I'll take the other two questions. Biren says hello and says, many of our women saint poets were highly evolved and emancipated. How can their poetry influence today's narrow discourses around gender?
Yes, these two songs that I spoke of, Gogava and Bonta Devi, I really, when I started digging and found them, for me, they really, I was so overjoyed saying, wow, man, this is like treasure. And this whole thing about how we look at tradition, saying we should have this mindset because that's what our tradition and culture speaks about. And it's been like this for centuries and centuries and centuries. That's mostly the justification we end up getting, saying just obey, just be, because this is sacred. Then these women, these highly evolved mystic saints, they have also said this, and they have questioned then, and they have, and those questions are still relevant even now, and they're also speaking this another aspect of what our life is about. Mm, I don't want to use the word truth. So imagine that there are these voices, standalone voices or collective voices, that have always brought this question. So why can't they be heard, or why can't we just heard a lot? They're not listening, actually. Because let's say we actually heard them, listened to them, and this proper balance was struck, then you don't need them anymore. The songs will change.
That's so profound. Yeah, the songs would change if we were to live them. And that takes me to another question Sid has asked. Siddharth, he says, thank you, Bindu. Along with being a musician, I'm also inspired by your activism, he says. Would love to hear what issues or concerns are you wanting to see a response from this generation?
I'm actually quite proud of the coming generation and the youngsters, because I don't think they're getting a really good deal, but they're trying to do their best to see how we can really try and not really commit certain mistakes that we have done, you know. And it takes a lot of courage, I think, um, to not be aggressive. And I'm learning that. And I think I lost the question. Can you just repeat it again? Sorry, I lost something in that.
basically, is there any issue or concern that you would want to see a response from this generation?
There are so many. Um, yeah, we all have our fights. Okay, let's fight it. We'll keep fighting it. We'll have our petty fights, human beings. At least let's spare the rest of the world from it and take care of them. Can we come together for that at least? I feel like when we are being very irresponsible about the rest of the creatures, living, non-living, everything in this environment, this world that we live in, and how we are treating it, it's a larger problem than all our every other fight feels petty for me in front of that.
And on that note, there are more questions, but we'd request you to respond to the questions on the social media pages.
Yes.
But just wondering if you have any final words or a song to close. And on the note that you have just mentioned would be lovely. Is there anything you'd leave us inspired by on that note?
Yes, because I know we all dance for this song again and again, even in the Kabir Fest. And so let's sing Haman Hai Ishq Mastana. I'll sing the last verse where he's saying that in this love, let's remove this duality, because as it is, the path that we walk is very delicate. So we don't have to really burden our heads. So that's what he says. So let's just become crazy and be loving. हमने सिर्फ भोज और बोझ भोज how do you say
Boj. Boj.
Boj. Okay. हमने है इश्क मस्ताना, हमन को होशियारी क्या, हमन है इश्क मस्ताना, हमन को होशियारी क्या, रहे आजाद या जग से, 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 हमन दुनिया से यारी क्या, हमन है इश्क मस्ताना, कबीरा इश्क का माता, दुई को दूर कर दिल से, दुई को दूर कर दिल से, जो चलना राह, जो चलना राह नाजुक है, जो चलना राह नाजुक है, हमन सिर बोझ भारी क्या.
And as usual, listening to you, ना सर पे बोझ रहे और दिल प्यार से भरा रहे. That is what we take away always listening to you. Thank you again for creating that magic. Thank you for making time for this and sharing with so much heart. Really appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Bindhu.
Thank
Thank you, Leslie, Mayuri, and all of you there. Thanks for all the questions and this session, really. Thank you, Initiative of Change.
And thank you all the listeners and everybody who has signed in to watch and listen to us today. We request you, if you would like to continue getting updates, then please like and subscribe, like the Facebook page and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you continue getting the updates. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bindhu. Thank you so much.